Okay, let's do a drainage blitz here. This is an addendum from December 19th, 2014, but the addendum happens to be all the code that we need to review. Uh, so this is just your meat and potatoes. Part 2, it includes all of Part 2, the code. So we're going to do some honorable mentions for this drainage that pertain to drainage out of the general section. So we're going to start with 2231, which is for traps. Except as provided for sentence 2, every trap shall have a trap seal depth of not less than 38 millimeters. So except as provided as sentence 2. Sentence 2 is trap seal depth of fixture drain. Draining into an acid waste system shall have a minimum of 50 millimeters. So that's your see-through trap for acid waste system, and those are a little bit bigger trap seal depth. And these traps shall be designed so the failure of seal walls will cause exterior leakage. Obviously, underneath our kitchen sinks and our sinks for our lavatories, we're going to have a union gasket style removable trap. And underneath the floor for showers and bathtubs, those will always be solid. So we'll be either gluing it or it'll be solid cast iron. It's traditionally. Have a water seal depth that does not depend on the action of moving parts, and this is literally you kick a bucket and you make a hamster run and the water runs down and it somehow seals the trap through some Einstein gadget that you've created to. So we just buy from the wholesaler. We don't really got to worry about that code. The trap seal depth of a fixture draining except as a floor mounted service sink. So that's obviously a janitor sink, floor-mounted service sink. Every trap that serves a lavatory, sink, or laundry tray shall be provided with a clean-out plug located at the lowest point of the trap and of the same material as the trap, except the cast iron shall be provided with a brass clean out plug. Now let's talk about what's normal, what's not normal, what you can buy at the wholesaler, what you can't buy for a second. So floor mounted service sink, I'm 99% sure I remember seeing a brass plug in my trap below the floor in the parkade for a hospital. Let's move on to a lavatory and a sink. Later on, we're going to build some lessons about those around cleanouts and what they need, what they don't need. A laundry tray in a commercial setting, I haven't gotten to that to see if we're actually using brass cleanouts plugs at the bottom of those P traps on a laundry tray in a commercial setting to comment on that kind of setting. But for a residential, obviously, they're just a union trap, which is a union plastic trap, right? Residential mom and pop's house. It must be designed so that part of the trap can be removed for cleaning purposes. Bell trap and a drum trap shall not be installed. We're going to mention 90s as well. We're going to go up to that, but first let's take a look at these sanitary T-fittings. A single or double sanitary T-fitting shall not be used in the nominally horizontal soil or waste pipe, except that a single T-fitting may be used to connect a vent pipe. So not on the horizontal to pick up a fixture in a sanitary drainage system, but you can use it on its back to pick up only a dry vent. No lavatory that's under 6 fixture units acting as a relief vent for your circuit vent. You cannot do that. You can only pick up dry vent with that kind of connection. And just to comment on vents, they're getting pretty strict. They don't want anybody coming off horizontal to connect a vent underneath the ground for your groundworks. Traditionally, he only let me get away with it on a interceptor. So, but not for sanitary. A double sanitary T-fitting shall not be used to connect the trap arms of backwater outlet water closets installed back to back. So I haven't been in that situation yet in my years of plumbing here, but or 2 urinals where no cleanout fitting is provided above the connection. So for this double sanitary tee, so pretend this is a double sanitary tee for a sec. They want the cleanout above the connection, so the connection is obviously down here, so obviously if it's a single sanitary tee, you can put that below the connection. I have as well. I personally like it above the connection, so the service guy, just to be nice to the service guy. 90-degree elbows, let's talk about this. Except as permitted in sentence 2, 90-degree elbows of 4 inch or less in size, whose centerline radius is less than the size of the pipe, shall not be used to join two soil or waste pipes. So that's pretty straightforward. More importantly, sentence 2, for me anyways, for sanitary drainage systems of 4-inch size or less, elbows described in sentence 1 shall only be permitted, so 90s are only permitted to change direction of piping from horizontal to vertical. In direction of flow, it also adds there. But for overthinkers, I wouldn't get too carried away thinking direction of flow. I can't really think of a situation where you put a sanitary tee like that and the inspector would allow something like that to connect there. Even if you put a clean out, it doesn't permit cleaning out of the entire system. So for me, in my experience, I can only think of this situation for going horizontal to vertical, and that's the only direction of flow. Where trap arm enters a wall, that's obviously where we're picking up our lavatory for our bathroom. And to connect trap arms as permitted in 2563. Now, I got told a few times in my career I'll rate off my 3x2 double Y for a bathroom group, bush to 2-inch to 1.5 inch, and go pick up my tub, throw a 90 right off the start and go pick up my tub. And that's what these guys are talking about. If somebody says that to you, they're probably referencing this picture here. It doesn't say it's a tub, but it does show 90 there. It also shows 90 for the water closet, but as we know, we always have to use 245s on the horizontal, and this code is saying up to 4-inch. Right there, it's highlighted. But for that, for guys that want to get creative, I have never used a 90 to connect sanitary drainage on the horizontal for 6-inch. I've never done that. I've always used 245s. So via my foreman, I did ask. But yeah, in my professional opinion, don't do the putting a 90 to connect a tub. It's always 245s. But somebody above you says that to do that. I just do want to kind of nod that I've seen it get passed in a parkade where you had all the ample potential to avoid that situation where you're working on a ladder in a parkade. So a water pressure test. So this is a drainage test. A water pressure test shall consist of applying water column to at least 3 meters of all joints. So for guys that are new to the game, you could literally put a 10-foot piece of pipe right off the stub for your toilet, and then fill that with water and test your drainage system, cap all the lower pipes, and that would fill it. And then you would just leave it there for the inspector to witness. He would probably shake it, see water comes out the top. And to touch on the subject as well, when we cut it down to 5 feet, that's a bylaw that I have read from the Vancouver bylaw website, at least for plumbing bylaws. So that's where that 5 feet comes from, just to kind of put everything into perspective here. They're kind of saying one thing, but we practice another. So that's where that comes from, is the Vancouver bylaw, that we can cut it down to 5 feet as well. It says it shall be held for 15 minutes. Everybody knows we just we leave it until the inspector witnesses the water test. So for young guys coming into the game, let's jump into 2-4 here. 2-4 sanitary. This section applies to sanitary drainage systems, storm drainage systems, combined building drains, or combined building sewers. Connection to drainage system. Connection to sanitary drainage system. Every fixture shall be directly connected to a sanitary drainage system, except that drinking fountains may be indirectly connected to a sanitary drainage system or connected to a storm drainage system, provided that where the system is subject to backflow, a backwater valve is installed in the fountain pipe. So let's just touch on that for a sec. Drinking fountain, yeah, indirectly connected to a sanitary drainage system. That's pretty typical. Connected to a storm drainage system, provided that where the system is subject to backflow. So subject to backflow is where the place you live in is actually prone to flooding, or the system could be subject to backflow. A backwater valve is installed, and that's just the check valve on your fountain waste pipe. It says drainage pans on heating cooling units may be connected to storm drainage system, provided that where the system is subject to backflow, a backwater valve is installed. Same thing, heating cooling units, obviously condensing. A floor drain may be connected to a storm drainage system, provided that it is located where it can receive only clear water waste or storm water. Fixtures or appliances that discharge only clear water waste may be connected to a storm drainage system or be drained onto a roof. So sometimes this floor drain may be connected to a storm drainage system, provided it is located where it receives only clear water waste or storm water. That's literally, sometimes you find on your drawings that your engineers draw your floor drain that's only going to receive indirect connections and clear water waste. They'll draw it to your grease line sometimes, and when in fact your trade waste system is 3 feet away, and you could just tie it into there. So sometimes you got to talk to your inspector about what he's going to want to see about that. So before you go changing your drawings, and I'm talking about a little change here, right? So as long as the boss knows about it. Fixtures or appliances that discharge only clear water waste may be connected to a storm drainage system or drained onto a roof. So drained onto a roof, obviously we have units on the rooftop that we will be indirectly connecting into roof drains. Following devices shall be indirectly connected to a drainage system. A device for the display. So obviously a freezer in a grocery store, for you pick your pizza out of there, that would be a device for display. That'll have a skirt right at the bottom, and it'll have all these little copper stub outs, and that will drain all the condensate. So storage would be a freezer. So a freezer will, even a big commercial one that you see in a restaurant, that'll just have 1 little 1.25 inches or whatever it is coming out, and we'll indirectly connect that. Preparation or processing of food or drink. So I know for sure that pop machines are indirectly connected, but in terms of processing food, and when you get into like processing granola bars or processing of food or drink in general, I haven't been in that type of setting. So to see those machines, to comment on the rest of them. But so those are some examples. A sterilizer is another cool example that sterilizes all the surgery tools at the hospital, that you just slide it in on a tray, and it's just kind of the same size as it's about 36 by 24 by 36, kind of deep. And so those, you just go in, then it's those trays go in, and then the steam comes on, and you can also watch it through transparent doors. So, and those units will be indirectly connected as well. So that's kind of what a sterilizer is, as far as my knowledge goes. A device that uses water cooling or as a heating medium. And this is a really traditional example. Heating and cooling units, right? There's so many to even get into naming them. And that's just kind of some couple examples of, and traditional examples of things that need to be indirectly connected, such as our hot water tank, drainage pan. Okay. Part two of this, we're kind of jumping into a different subject here. We are still talking about connections to drainage systems. The connection of a soil or waste pipe to a nominally horizontal soil or waste pipe or to a nominally horizontal offset in a soil or waste stack shall be not less than 1.5 meters measured horizontally from the bottom of the soil or waste stack or from the bottom of the upper vertical section of the soil or waste stack that receives a discharge of 30 fixture units or receives a discharge from fixtures located on 2 or more stories. So what are they talking about here? Well, this is the picture right out of the back of the book that they're talking about. So, soil or waste stack example here. Yeah, come down. They're going to need 1.5 meters, which is 5 feet, and then come down again. And obviously, we're talking about connections to a drainage system. No soil or waste pipe connected in this area. So, super straightforward for that one. This one's a little bit more trickier because they're calling this, so let's just look at the example first of all. So they're saying 1.5 meters, which is 5 feet, obviously. So let's say that's 5 feet if we're connecting a bathroom group upstairs. Oops. If we're connecting a bathroom group upstairs, so let's say that this is the level, this is one level, so it obviously penetrates this level, goes through the floor, and picks up a bathroom group for upstairs, the second level, and this would be the basement here. So basement, first floor, and there would be another level. So this is the plumbing for the second level. That would definitely need 5 feet. Residential guys know that because it penetrates 1 story, at least 1 story. The situation where it doesn't penetrate 1 story in a residential setting, where we just have it downstairs. Now that, because this is the first floor and this is the basement, this doesn't penetrate 1 level, it just picks up everything, and this is pretty typical bathroom group for mom and pops. This would not need 5 feet because it doesn't pick up 30 fixture units. But if this was a commercial setting, and let's say if this pipe right here picks up 30 fixture units, this one, more than 30 fixture units, 30 fixture units, whatever the wording is, that would need 5 feet, even if it's below our first floor here in the commercial setting, because they're calling this connection to a normally horizontal soil or waste pipe. So it's kind of a cluster of characteristics or cluster of things going on there. That's why the code, they say, is tricky. No other fixture shall be connected to a lead bend or stub that serves a water closet. So let's take a look at that example here. What I've been told and what my experience is, so what you can and can't do in terms of connecting to this water closet. So I don't know if the engineer had a talk with my foreman at the time or not, but they came up with this plan. So he told me that we can't connect 3, we have to have the stub which is obviously the hub fitting that comes down through the floor. We put a piece of pipe in it. The piece of pipe, by the time it was glued, had to have a space of at least 3/4 inches in between our 3x2 sanitary tee that's serving as a wet vent here to wet vent this water closet. So we had to have 3/4 of an inch of space of pipe showing. But obviously that code is saying otherwise. That's why I say I don't know if you had a talk with somebody and we were actually granted permission for that, but clearly they say no other fixture shall be connected to the lead band or stub that serves a water closet. Okay. We're changing direction of more than 45 degrees in a soil or waste pipe that serves one or more clothes washers and which pressure zones are created by detergent suds. No other soil or waste pipe shall be connected to it within a length less than 40 times the soil or waste pipe, or 2.44 maximum on the vertical, whichever is less before changing direction, and 10 times the size of nominal horizontal soil or waste pipe after changing direction. Don't worry. This is all dictated with one picture. I think that it is really straightforward. So the condition is that you have to have a change of direction. Obviously more than 45 degrees. We don't have 60-degree fittings, so obviously, in my opinion, we're talking about 90s. But so it just says more than 45 degrees. Pretty straightforward picture. Where a vent pipe connects into SUD's pressure zone referred to in sentence 4, no other vent pipe shall be connected to that vent pipe within the height of the SUD's pressure zone. So maybe something that you're going to have to kind of explore. Connection of overflows from rainwater tanks we're not going to read about. Direct connections we are. 2 or more fixture outlet pipes that serve outlets from a single fixture listed in clause 2421. Obviously indirect connections we're talking about. Well, it's from connections to a sanitary drainage system, but we're talking about these indirect connected fixtures. May be directly connected to a branch that has a size of not less than 1.25 inches and is terminated above the flood level rim of a directly connected fixture to form an air break. So what are they talking about there? That's where you have an 1.25 inch DWV serving as a branch, well, the main line for all your condensates, to put it in English, and then just branch here. This is, a little T goes off there, off your line, picks up a unit. Pretty traditionally, let's say it's a furnace in an office space kind of warehouse. Then you have another 3/4 T, another furnace in the office space warehouse, or whatever you want to have heating or cooling your space. So DWV, condensate copper line that goes down there, and this would be this 1.25 inch DWV would be indirectly connected, but they are saying that these fixtures that need to be indirectly connected, they are saying 2 or more fixture outlet pipes that serve outlets from a single fixture. So you can connect 2 or more that serve outlets from a single fixture that's listed in 2421 may be directly connected to a branch that has a size of not less than 1.25 inches and is terminated above the flood level rim of a directly connected fixture to form an air break. So just to clear that up, that's what they're talking about. And I say that this pipe would be traditionally picking up heating or cooling units because it would be in the air. What they do underground in terms of a grocery store, they would literally run floor drains over to each one of those indirectly connected fixtures that run underneath the skirt of, let's say, your display freezer in a grocery store. They would just run the floor drain right over to that. Fixture drains from fixtures that are listed in subclause EI. So I went back, I was kind of looking, what are they talking about? I got that they were talking about this 2421, and they're talking about those EIII, maybe directly connected to a pipe that is terminated to form an air break above the flood level rim of a fixture that is directly connected to a sanitary drainage system. And so, pretty typical, maybe, yeah, air break is extended through the roof where fixtures on 3 or more stories are connected to it. So again, with the DWV, this time it's on the vertical, picking up fixtures from 3 different stories, indirectly connected at the bottom, and would obviously penetrate through the roof, they're asking as well. Macerating toilet system, we're not going to read about. Yeah, this one's actually kind of important. Indirect connections or any trap that may overflow shall not be located in a crawl space or an unfrequented area. So if you have a crawl space in the basement, I've actually been asked that a few times to plumb me some stuff underneath my crawl space, and you actually can't because it's an unfrequented area. So that would be kind of a pop-up from there. Drain serving elevator pits, obviously don't forget your sump. It won't. Elevator is a huge deal. Sewage treatment, we're not going to talk about. Cooling or of hot water or sewage, we are going to talk about. Where a fixture discharged sewage or clear water waste at a temperature above 75 degrees Celsius, provisions shall be made for cooling of the water to 75 degrees Celsius. So obviously a dishwasher in a restaurant commercial setting, commercial dishwasher would need that, or less before it is discharged to the drainage system. So it needs to be cooled to this temperature before discharge to the drainage system. So what do you do? Generally, you have a small interceptor that's about 24 inches long, 18 inches deep, 18 inches wide, and that's all I know, that the dishwasher drains into that interceptor before it goes into the drainage system. Whether that is the actual cooling medium, the interceptor, the small interceptor, I don't know, and whether there is a secondary main big interceptor serving the whole restaurant, that is a different story as well. Interceptors, we're going to skip over. Neutralizing for dilution tanks, we're going to skip over. Kind of not really typical stuff that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. Except as provided, sentence 234, traps for sanitary drainage system. And article 2452, so that would be traps for storage drainage system. Every fixture shall be protected by a separate trap. One trap may protect all the trays or compartments of a 2 or 3 compartment sink, a 2 compartment laundry tray, or 2 singular compartment fixtures located in the same room. Kind of go over these one by one. One trap may protect. So first of all, every fixture shall be protected by a separate trap. Okay, and then sentence 2. One trap may protect all the trays or compartments of a 2 or 3 compartment sink. Okay, 2 or 3 compartment sink, obviously kitchen sink. 3 compartment sink we're going to talk about in a second here. So 2 compartment laundry tray, a single compartment fixtures located in the same room. That's where you let's say, this is the best example that I can come up with, is where you got to you're doing a grocery store. You got your main trade waste system here. Well, maybe not trade waste system. Let's anyways, you got to get over a pad here. So you go P trap, and you got 2 fixtures over here, 2 floor drains over here. Okay, so you go P trap. Sanitary T, jump over what you're trying to get over, straight up for a clean out, off that branch of the sanitary T, 90, another sanitary T, 90, pick up your second fixture, and right off the top of the first fixture, obviously we would be picking up a fixture, so we'd be picking up 2 fixtures off of this one trap. And that's what they're talking about. Two similar single compartment fixtures located in the same room. So you can't pick up 3 things off of that. I do want to touch on that. But obviously you can put 2 or more indirectly connected fixtures on a single branch. So couple different way to plumb things, and a couple different things there. One trap may serve a group of floor drains or shower drains, a group of washing machines, a group of lavatory sinks if the fixtures are in the same room, big key, are not located where they can receive food or organic matter. And this actually can save you some money, this code right here, if you're forward thinking about it. So kind of cool. An indirect connected fixture that can discharge only clear water waste other than a drinking fountain need not be protected by a trap. So do indirectly connected fixtures that discharge only clear water waste other than drinking fountains need to be protected by a trap? No, they don't. I actually kind of had to drill that in my own head, so kind of cool. The interceptor with an effective water seal of not less than 38 millimeters may serve as a trap. So the reason they're kind of touching on that is the interceptor is like your grease interceptor for your restaurant. That would be a drum style trap, and that's why they're saying not less than 38 millimeters, because that interceptor is the only legal drum trap out there. And the reason I say drum trap is I'm not literally calling it a drum trap. I'm just saying the design is very, very similar. Okay, so that's kind of, to me, that's the only reason I could think why they would put this code here. But I just buy from the wholesaler. So we're a domestic dishwashing machine equipped with a drainage pump discharged through a direct connection to a fixture outlet pipe of an adjacent kitchen sink or disposal unit. So this is where we're talking about dishwasher to kitchen sink in mom and pop's house. The pump discharge line shall rise as high as possible to just under the counter and connect on the inlet side of this sink trap by means of a Y fitting. So we have a special dishwasher Y fitting to the disposal unit or to the disposal unit. So the disposal unit would obviously be the garbage garburator. Now, I've worked for companies where they drill 2 holes at the bottom. This would be the pump line. Then they rise up under the actual counter of or they rise up as high as they can to just under the counter of the kitchen sinks, and then they go ahead and connect into that dishwasher Y. But what I would do for guys that are just young, guys that are starting out, guys that have the option where they can drill a hole, I would just be drilling it top as high as I could there to keep the inspector happy, rise to just under the counter, right into that Y fitting, just so you can't go wrong. Traps storm drainage system. This is a cluster of, I don't even want to say it, and but you do need to know, a floor drain that drains into a storm drainage system shall be protected by a trap. Okay. Connection to subsoil drainage system, pipe to a sanitary drainage system. We're going to touch on subsoil drainage pipe. It's just perforated pipe that runs around your house to get rid of groundwater. And where that pipe goes, obviously off the bank in the backyard, the steep hill. I've also seen it mess off into the ground, but what the pipe they're using to connect and where and how it connects, well, how it connects and what fittings they're using, I couldn't tell you in detail, so I'm not really going to touch on the subsoil drainage pipe, even though us guys like to know everything. Location and clean out for building traps. So building traps, this is definitely worth reading and worth looking at the picture in the back of the book in case you become a foreman and pops up on your drawings, okay? That's what I'm going to touch on and say that. Provisions that Trap seals. Provision shall be made for maintaining the trap seal of a floor drain by the use of a trap seal primer. So trap seal primer, obviously just a little brass device we're going to put in there. That's going to drip down and prime our floor drain and keep the trap seal primed. The water level primed. Using the drain as a receptacle for an indirectly connected drinking fountain or equally effective means. So you can use a drinking fountain or any indirectly connected fixture, because I've actually ran into that situation and we saved some money that way out at a project where we had some indirectly connected fixtures priming our floor drains where they were kind of going to be a far trap primer to run, and we just put indirectly connected fixtures in there that were equally effective means to prime the trap. So that's pretty cool. To touch back on these floor drains, so for the young guys, just a little trap primer there, and that can feed just the floor drain itself, or a trap primer, and then distribution box, which serves up to 4 heads that would go in a wall. All those 4 lines would pop up in a wall, go to the distribution box. I've been in installations where they put traditionally access covers for those boxes, but 50-50, I've heard. So that's my experience on that. Arrangement of drainage piping, separate systems, no vertical soil or waste pipe shall conduct both sewage and storm water. Okay, and on that note, a combined building drain shall not be installed. So if you do get to a project where they say it is combined building drain, or it's because the guy paid a lot of money to get a combined building drain permit, and I've heard from very reliable sources that is a thing. Okay. There shall be no unused open ends in a drainage system, and dead ends shall be graded so that water will not collect in them. So if you're working, so this is really serious. So the inspectors want to see that piece, so you can only connect one more fitting on it, like enough room for a hub to just connect onto there and go, one coupling. And he really wants to see those pieces, those dead ends graded. And you can fail and ruin relationships over silly things like that. So 1.5-inch pipe for ABS, cut her down to inch and a half, stick a cap on there so you have 3/4 of an inch space of piping showing, so you can literally glue another coupling on there and go. So that's how much pipe they want to see showing on those dead ends. Location of soil or waste pipe. So dead end, obviously, just clear it up for young guys. Abandoning a pipe would be one situation, and I'm sure you can imagine some others. Location of soil or waste pipes. A soil or waste pipe shall not be located directly above a non-pressure potable water storage tank. So you might find that in a food processing plant. Okay, manholes and pressure potable water storage tank. That seems like a situation you wouldn't run across, but I actually ran across that when I was in a rural mom and pop's house, pretty rich family, and they had a water softener in their basement water softener in their basement, and obviously they had a pressure potable water storage tank there, and I had to think of my options to get to run their kitchen sink, right? Okay, so that could be an instance you run into that. Food handling or storage processing equipment. Yeah, that's just pretty straightforward, and I don't think that's really the drawings are never gonna tell you to do that, but just watch out where you're plumbing. Sumps and tanks. We're not going to read about that. Protection from backflow. We're not going to read about that. Cleanouts for drainage system. Every sanitary drainage system and storm drainage system shall be provided with cleanouts that permit the cleaning of the entire system. Okay? These cleanouts are really important. A cleanout fitting that shall be provided on the upstream side of every directly connected fixture over every running trap. So you have a P trap here. Yeah, you have a P trap here. Sanitary T, clean out, or you can even go clean out through the floor and then put it floor flush with floor level. Or if you're in a parkade, you would just put a cap on there. The person can climb the ladder, remove that cap, and then obviously you would mess off this way. So it would just be P trap, sanitary T, mess off, and clean out up top. Right on. Okay, so that would be that. Every interior leader shall be provided with a clean out fitting at the bottom of the leader, no more than 3 meters upstream of the bottom of the leader. So when we're talking about leader, we're talking about just storm. So we've only, okay, where a clean out is required on a building sewer 8 inches or larger in size, it shall be a manhole. Okay, so you will run across that in your career. So keep that in mind when you're working with 8-inch. A building sewer shall not change direction or slope between the building and public sewer or between cleanouts, except that the pipe not more than 6 inches in size may change in direction by not more than 5 degrees every 3 meters. So that's a banana or a bow in a pipe, and that's kind of the allowance, 5 degrees every, not more than 5 degrees every 3 meters. By the usage, and this is talking about a building sewer. Okay, by the use of fittings with a cumulative change in direction and not more than 45 degrees. And every building drain, this is sentence 6, every building drain shall be provided with a clean out fitting that is located as close as practical to the place where the building drain leaves the building. 7, a soil or waste stack shall be provided with a clean out fitting at the bottom of the stack. Not more than, so this is our soil or waste stack, obviously. Now we have mentioned the soil or waste stack. Not more than 3 meters upstream of the bottom of the stack. So I've literally done this situation quite a bit where you come up, put a clean out here so they can slide the hot water tank just below here and still have access to this clean out here. So the clean out obviously would be installed so we can't drip on the hot water tank. But this is the installation, and that's some of the reasons why, is because you're trying to get out of the way of other things that need to go in such a small room. Okay, and then obviously, I don't know if I mentioned, the Y fitting is the preference. Well, it's not a preference. You got to put a Y fitting on a Y fitting connecting the stack to the building drain or branch. So Y clean out. Okay, and as for that matter, the building drain or the branch, they're talking about a Boston Y there as well, on some situations as well. So I'm commenting on those 2 situations there where you have the Y at the bottom of the stack and as well a Y to connect for a Boston Y cleanout. A cleanout shall not be provided to permit a cleaning of the pipe downstream of an interceptor. Shall be provided to permit the cleaning of the piping downstream of an interceptor. Cleanouts shall be installed so that the cumulative change in direction is not more than 90 degrees between cleanouts in a drip pipe from a food receptacle or in a fixture drain serving a kitchen sink. So if we touch on that and just read a sentence out of the back of the code right now from 2471, specifically talking about sentence 1. So remember earlier in the video we were saying we were going to build off of those clean out plugs. So we are going to build off of those clean out plugs right now. A trap clean out plug is not acceptable as a clean out for the fixture drain. Hence either a separate clean out or a trap with a removable trap dip must be installed. So that's where we get our union gasket, and the removable trap dip comes into play. And so if you have a 2-inch pipe, it's got to be obviously you would need a 2-inch. If you're going to glue the whole system, you would need a 2-inch trap, a 2-inch P trap, and that P trap would be removable, and that would serve as a 2-inch clean out. there in that what we just read there. Traditionally, we kind of know a little bit different. Our clean out fitting shall be provided on the upstream side and directly over every running trap. Okay. A clean out shall be provided. Clean outs shall be installed so that the cumulative change in direction is not more than 90 degrees between clean outs and. Oh, well, we're going to read about clean out location, and you're going to see a code that will blow your mind. Okay, so take a look at this chart here. Maximum spacing, 15 meters for two-way rotting. So keep that in mind, less than 3-inch. Oh, here, keep this number in mind, sorry. Yes, this is the one you want to keep in mind. Anyways. So we're not going to talk about manholes. A manhole, including the cover, what it's made out of. Okay. Location of cleanouts, we are going to talk about. Cleanouts and access cover shall be located so that the openings are readily accessible for drain cleaning purposes. A cleanout shall not be located in a floor assembly in a manner that can constitute a hazard or used as the floor drain. So this, a cleanout shall be not located in floor assembly in a manner can constitute a hazard. That can happen really quick in a commercial setting where the pad is huge. We're talking 200 by 300 foot warehouses, and you got, well, let's say a grocery store. In any grocery store, those are huge pours for the cement guys. Now you got to pretty much do them in phases, and you got to beep all those floor drains. And if they're 1/8 of an inch out or a 1/16 or a little bit off level, that can constitute a hazard, and that can be a big issue. Well, I don't know, but you know what I mean. Cleanout should not be used as a floor drain. There shall be no change in direction between a cleanout fitting and the trap that it serves. I think that's pretty straightforward. The piping between a cleanout fitting and the drainage piping or vent piping that it serves shall not change in direction by more than 45 degrees. So drainage piping or vent piping that it serves shall not change in direction by 45 degrees. So traditionally, the inspector lets us put a clean out right here above the floor, let's say in mom and pop's bathroom sink or kitchen sink, and then we can generally do 3 turns below the floor before we have to put a clean out in. And that's kind of the same for drainage in a parkade, 3-4 turns, but 5 turns, that's unacceptable. 4, you're pushing it. So that's kind of normal behavior, just some guidelines there for kind of what's practiced out there. Cleanouts, we don't put a clean out every 90 we put up in the parkade. Cleanouts serving fixtures in healthcare facilities, mortuaries, laboratories, or similar occupancies where contamination by bodily fluid is likely shall be located 150 millimeters above the flood level rim of the fixture. Yeah, I've worked in a hospital and we put them at 5 feet. That's kind of traditional height for a hospital. They're talking 6 inches located above the flood level rim of the fixture. Yeah, so that's about 5 feet, 6 inches. You want to push the flood level rim of a fixture, you're talking 37 to center. You really want to get into it. I guess you could argue with an inspector and put it even lower and say on this high efficiency washing machine, it uses half the water in the flood level rim is halfway through the circle of the glass. So I'm going to put my T at, let's say that's 26 inches. Maybe if you want to or argue the lowest flood level rim, you could do that. And so that's kind of which heights we're talking about for flood level rim there. Okay, kind of a good lesson, something good to know. The inspector will accept 37, but you're not going to create a good relationship. Except is provided in so the drainage pipe that's 3 inches or less shall have a downward slope of flow of at least 1 in 50, quarter inch per foot for 3 inch or less. Drainage pipe, length of fixture outlet pipe. So this is kind of an important one. The developed length of every fixture outlet pipe shall not exceed 1,200 millimeters. So when it's dropping down in a hospital situation, especially, sometimes you got the tin guy pressed against the ceiling with his ducting. You got a floor drain here. You're dropping down to get around him, putting on a P-trap. And you just got to make sure that this height isn't more than 1,200 millimeters. And no reduction in size. So this is just talking about guys that do stupid things. I've heard of a guy, he got his hot water tank plumb in the cold line on the water. He got 3/4. The guy reduced to 1/2 inch, and then he went back to 3/4. So they're literally saying, don't reduce stupid or silly, and you got to reduce and increase in a manner that this permits draining to the whole of the entire system. The entire system has to drain. So serving water closets, the size of every drainage pipe that serves a water closet shall not be less than 3 inches. The size of every branch or building drain downstream of the third water closet fixture drain connection shall be not less than 4 inches. So 1 water closet and 3 inch, 2 water closets picked up on the 3 inch branch there, and the third one's got to be a 4x3, and then just continue with 4 inch. And the size of every branch or building drain downstream of the third of the soil or waste stack that serves not more than 6 water closets shall be not less than 4 inch. So 5 water closets and 3 inch. The 6th one's got to be a 4x3, and continue on the vertical for the soil or waste stack in 4 inch. The size of discharge pipe serving a macerating toilet shall not be less than 3/4 of an inch. Size of the fixture outlet pipe. Every fixture outlet pipe shall conform to 2493. So table 2493, that's where you got to size it. The part of every fixture outlet pipe that is common to a 3-compartment sink shall be one size larger than the fixture outlet pipe of the compartments that it serves. Let's take a look at that for a sec. This is the dishwasher example where you run into it most. And so you have a 3-compartment sink here. Then you got to put 3.5-inch traps. This pipe poking out of the floor or the wall has to be 2 inch. It has to be one pipe size larger. Okay. And actually, we're going to touch on another thing here. You're going to see that you're not allowed to have food or grease going into a grease trap, and they mitigate the food with these style of strainers. And then you also can't have concealed overflow in a food preparation sink, and that would be this overflow here would be one style where they have the water goes down in there. I worked in a dish pit when I was a young fellow, and there's even one spray hose you have to clamp down your hand to for it to work. But if you let enough water go into the sink just literally overflows. There's no overflow for it. We're not going to read about rainwater leaders. You'll learn how to size those and learn about those in school. Obviously, where a closed washer, the vertical standpipe shall not be less than 600 millimeters, 24 inches. So, this offset and leaders. Obviously, we're talking about storm. Not more than 6 meters long. This is kind of a good code to know, but it's good. So no change in the size of the leader with nominally horizontal offset is required. Yeah.